Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the speed metal kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Wednesday night is back again, and that means it's time for another edition of Auburn Family Night. This is the show where you, the Auburn family, take center stage. We're going to take your comments and questions and topics, and of course, your calls. All that's coming up right now. Let's get into the Auburn experience right now. War Eagle, and welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about and share the Auburn experience. That experience to us is about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it might be, though, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing today here in our live Auburn Family Night time, where we get together with you and talk with you about what's on your mind in the orange and the blue space. Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff, whatever you want to talk about. It's all game here on this evening. This is always brought to you by this summer, our friends at barnersupply.com. You can see their logo down there in the bottom, should be your right corner. And right here, some of the gear that I'm displaying right there. This is just a sampling of the different designs, the different gear they have, hats, shirts, all kinds of stuff where you can be proud of that Barning heritage, something that the Alabama fans try to make like it's a joke or something, but it's a very honorable trade and it's our honorable roots. And so we thrive and we love and are proud of our Barning background. So barnersupply.com is where you want to visit. The link should be available for you in the description and in our post. If you're watching that on social media, visit them, please, and support them, because they're a great Auburn company, and you support us by supporting them. Now, we want to get into the show this evening and welcome you in. You can start the show off, as some of you are already doing now, by making sure that you smash the like button and say hello by just announcing your presence here, War Eagle, however you'd like to. If you're not an Auburn persuasion person and you're visiting us, which we do get from time to time, certainly you can announce yourself however you deem necessary or weird. But please do jump into the chat and hang out with us a little bit this evening. You can now also take advantage of our call-in link, which is available to you starting right now. You can get in line to talk to us here live on the show. If you're watching the replay, fortunately, you won't be able to access it, but it is available to you right now live if you would want to take advantage of that and call into the show. Spend a little bit of time unpacking something a little bit more detail with me. That's what's there for you this evening. Now, we're going to talk about what's on your minds. So jump into the chat and let us know what you want to talk about this evening. Thank you for those of you that are already checking in with us. We got Carolina Low Country checking in with us. Thank you, Rob. And Neil up from about my way. It's pretty cool to see. So we'll jump into a variety of different things. Let me give you a few things to think about this evening. We've got a new commitment, a transfer it looks like as well, but I think it's somebody who's more of a depth piece, and there's not been a lot of hype or even reporting on him all that much. So I'm not even that well versed on him yet, but there's an exciting one from New Zealand we'll talk about in just a little bit. We have gotten schedule updates for soccer of recency, men's and women's basketball. We have gotten, I feel like a bunch of other things that are just slipping over me right now. We're getting updates about College Football 26 and how Auburn's going to be involved with that. If you watched the opening of this show, that Metallica show that they did obviously got them some respect, because they're going to be the sound that you hear when you open up College Football 26. Look, College Football 26 is fun in and of itself, but the fact that every time I open that up now, I'm going to hear the Auburn band, and every time some Alabama fan has to open that thing up, they're going to hear the Auburn band, just does the heart so much good. I mean, let's be honest, it really does. So there's that. The NBA draft, I see Neil talking about that right now. We're monitoring that this evening, a little bit off to the side. Maybe something special happens in the middle of the show. I don't know. It'd be awesome if it did, but we'll see. So you guys go ahead and jump into the chat as you're already doing so, and then go ahead and get in line for the phone lines, and we will take some of your calls this evening. Don't be shy. If you've never taken advantage of it before, we'd love to see you do that. This summer is a great time to try it out. Just hit the link at the top. You can be on camera or off camera. We'll start taking calls here in just a little bit. Already said hello to a few of those. Let's start with this topic right here from Neil. Auburn has a 370-pound offensive lineman from New Zealand coming in. I've been working really hard to learn how to say his name. I watched him say it a couple of times, and it takes me a few times. Nika, what was it? Hepe? Nika Hepe, I think is how you say it. I will get it right eventually, but that is really cool. Here's an interesting thing that I didn't know about this. Now, I didn't know that there was like an NFL preparatory academy anywhere, but much less over there in the Asia Pacific region. And that's where he's coming from. He's from New Zealand, but I think that academy, I don't know why I did the air quotes. It's a legit thing. It's not like it's a fake thing like that high school that was a fake thing for a while. He's coming from that, and he's also coming from New Zealand. That's a cool little thing. You know, we talk about the Auburn family being so wide, so diverse, and just far-reaching across this world. It's really cool to see someone come over from New Zealand. I was thinking about this too the other day too. I would like to see in Auburn football someone to come up with some information so we could like make a graphic about it, where Auburn has drawn international athletes of prominence from. Football, yes, but maybe that's going to be very vast and like the Olympic sports. But, you know, like Babatunde Akingbola, I think he came from South Sudan when he was here with basketball. Nigeria was, I believe, Prince Tega Wanango Jr. We've had a couple of others from other, I believe, West African nations that have become part of the football team. So now you've got someone from New Zealand. I believe we have some others with some connections over that way as well. So it would just be Iku Leota. I think Iku either had family over in that region, but it'd be cool to see like a map of where the Auburn family has drawn from and had grown from. That'd be really cool to see. I call him the giant hobbit. Why is he like, he's not short. He's 6'7". Oh, I just got it, Neil. I just got it. Thank you. Well played, sir. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, so that's why it slipped past me for a second there, but well played. The Lord of the Rings fans are big fans of you tonight, Neil, for dropping that reference on the show. But yeah, he's really cool to see offensive tackle. Excited to have him as part of the class. Dalton War Eagle to you, checking from Noonan. We've heard from the Carolinas. We've heard from Georgia already, a few Alabamas too. So we've got the family checking in from all over the country. Wouldn't it be cool if Nika would also check in with us here? That'd be really cool. Corey says, didn't we have a player by the name of Matambo or something? Are you talking about Mamadou Njai? Yeah, I believe that was basketball. I don't know. Did he himself, was he born in a different nation or was it just his family? I don't know, but it would be really cool to see like a map of that. I feel like something's to that nature has happened before, to see where like a lot of the Auburn international student athletes come from and celebrate that a little bit. We do that when we get to Olympic times. Last time we did an Olympic episode for the last Olympics, we talked about each of the countries where Auburn representatives were competing, which was really cool to see. So I feel like that's the few times that we get into that subject. So this has really sparked that in my mind and some of the others. I'm happy to have him. Hepe, I think is how you say that. Or I think it's, I've heard it said hippie, Hepe. I don't know how you do it, but it's there. All right. We all have to celebrate because we have converted another Auburn TikToker over to the YouTube space. Hunter has made it finally over to Auburn Family Night. Look, Sam is even celebrating it. Can we all just give him a round of applause, literally, for finally living up to the promises that he made me that he would show up on Auburn Family Night. Well done, sir. Congrats. Let's see what you come up with this evening. Now, can I challenge you? You should take advantage of the call-in link up at the top of the chat, too. We'll start slow, though. Let's see here. Tim says Auburn football team had a player with his last name Obana. Obana. I don't remember that one. There's been several. Look, you look at someone's last name and you go, well, surely they're from a different country. That's not always the case. Their family could be, their parents could be. But it would be, I still think it would be really cool to see that. But check New Zealand off the list if it wasn't already checked off for us in this particular realm. He was a receiver. Wait a minute. Are you talking about Obumanu? Not Obana. I don't think he was from a different country. I think his family may have been, but no, I don't think that was the case. Australia has also provided us a couple of punters, several women's tennis players. Yes, definitely. We are very thankful for the punting prowess of the land down under. And the last 3 of our punters have been of the Australian persuasion, which is great to see. All right, we'll get to our caller here in just a second. Let's see. Hunter says, I'd like to see you build your best all-time running back only using the following physical traits from previous Auburn players: size, speed, strength, receiving ability, trucking, and swagger. Hunter, I'm going to star that one so I can come back to it. We'll take a call here, and then we'll get on that because that's going to take me a minute to work through. But you guys start thinking about that too, so we can maybe all do this collectively tonight. That would be a little fun exercise to talk through together. So that'll be coming up here in just a second. Let's take our first caller this evening. It's one of our regulars. You know him, you love him. He's Mr. Kevin. What's going on, sir?
War Eagle, Cal.
Good to see you, Kevin. War Eagle to you, buddy. How you doing this fine summer evening? I see the hat. Listen, I just know the hat's going to be there every single time. You don't even.
The Quiz Hunter.
I know every time that Kevin calls into this show, he's got the Jarquez Hunter hat on, the cowboy hat. So trust me, I had no doubts. I would worry about you if you didn't have that hat on a show.
And number 12.
Number 12 for what?
You remember Eli Stowe?
Did he wear the cowboy hat a lot?
No. He wore number 12.
I could not see your 12 right there. I'm sorry. So I just didn't see. Now I can see it. Well, 12 was that. Chris Todd. Who else wore 12?
Chris Todd.
I feel like we're forgetting a bunch
Eli
of people.
Stowe and somebody on defense.
Somebody on defense. Well, Keldrick Falk. Isn't Keldrick Falk 12? Or is he 14? I can't remember.
No, he's 15.
15. That's right. That's 15. See, I don't do a good enough job of memorizing the numbers. I'm not good at that. Like
we lost 2 commitments.
We did, but you know what I say about that? It doesn't really matter right now. You'll get those commitments back, and we'll find people that actually want to be here, and maybe those people will come back. You never know. It's a wild world of recruiting these days, so I don't really spend much time worrying about that.
I bet you Spree's got someone in mind.
I would hope so. Yeah, I'd say if you have spots opened up, that you certainly would. You would have somebody in mind.
5-star quarterback from Jackson High School.
Which one is that?
London Duckworth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured that's where we were going with that one. You know me, I don't know all these guys. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about them. So, unfortunately,
and Jackson's running back, he's announcing tomorrow where he's going.
We'll see what happens, and we'll certainly celebrate that if it happens. What you think about the guy who is committed from New Zealand? Isn't that wild to think about someone coming from so far away?
Yeah, New Zealand.
Yeah, you know where that is? That's far away, my friend.
It's far away.
Hey, listen, that's about as far away from Auburn, Alabama as you can get.
And he's 6'7".
6'7", offensive tackle most likely. I think Neil was reporting him at 370. I didn't really see that measurable myself, so I'll take his word for it. But that's a big boy, isn't it, from New Zealand? They grow him big down in the down underland.
Is he already committed?
Yes, he committed yesterday.
Yesterday,
because it was the first of somebody from this Asia Pacific NFL Academy to commit to a power program. So that's pretty cool that Auburn's part of that.
And I think that Devin Williams and Sedaris Tootle might come back,
Yeah, they
sign
might,
with
but
Auburn.
they might, Kevin. But I wouldn't worry thinking about that or being concerned with that. We're more concerned with people that want to be here, and so we'll
Yeah.
focus on that going forward. What else has been on your mind this week? What you think? Are you going to be? You play college football 26 or the video game at all? Do you do that?
Yeah. When does it come out?
That comes out July 10th, I think is what it is. But did you play the last one? Did you play the last game?
Yeah, 2025.
Were you pretty good? Did you play with Auburn all the time?
Yeah. Now it don't work.
It don't work now. Well, I'm playing my last few days with Auburn. I created a quarterback, and I've won 2 national championships in a row, and I'm on his senior year, and we'll see if we win it for the 3rd time. I'll tell you, it was really cool when I was playing it. Him his sophomore year, we miraculously made.
Who's your quarterback?
It's just a made-up guy. It's just some made-up character. But we got his sophomore year, made it through the playoffs miraculously to the championship game, and I'm going to share this clip on social media soon, where we were down, I think, to Penn State that year. Like they were about to win the national championship. The clock's running down, no timeouts. My guy just goes, everybody go on all go routes, and just chunked that thing up there. And somehow a guy Cam Coleman came down with it in the end zone to win the national championship. It was wild. When I threw it up, I knew it was just going to be likely an interception to end the game. And I got to try something. And he just snags it in the back of the end zone, and Auburn is national championships. And then last year we just destroyed everybody. So now we're trying to do it for a 3rd year in a row now. Oh, did we lose you? Kevin, you there? Kevin, there you are.
I hope we win national championship this year.
For real in football, it will be an uphill task to do that, but it is certainly within the realm of possibility. It's maybe not the most likely thing, but it's certainly within that. You go out there and play to win a championship.
Be healthy.
Be healthy. Yeah, that's a key factor in all that. Certainly it is.
I'm looking forward to watching Antonio Coleman play on defense.
Yeah, it's nice to have another Antonio Coleman back on defense, isn't it? I mean, it feels like we're having deja vu here with the literal exact name and basically the same position, at least defensive line wise, back in the fold. I mean, that's the weirdest thing in the world to me. To see somebody with the exact same name playing the exact same position on the exact same team.
We did have a guy nominated. He played on defense.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, it's the exact same name, team, position, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty wild to say. All right, so here's what I want from you to round out our call tonight, Kevin. Janai Broome did not get drafted tonight. Looks like it is over. Someone's reporting that. So tomorrow's the day. What do you think? Or wait a minute. How about this? What team do you think will draft Janai Broome tomorrow night?
Chicago Bulls.
Chicago Bulls. I have seen that name thrown around just a little bit, so maybe you're on to something there. I've seen Boston Celtics. Maybe that's more wishful thinking for folks, but
yeah,
we'll come back on Wednesday night next week and see if you end up being right and see if you got the prediction right. Chicago Bulls. You heard it here first from Mr.
And Pettifer's back.
He is back, ready to roll. Super excited to have him as the leader of this team this year. So we got a lot to be excited about for the future, don't we?
I'll see you next Wednesday, War Eagle.
War Eagle, Kevin. Good to hear from you, my friend. All right, that was Kevin, one of our regular callers. You can take part in the call-in link as well. It's over this way, Kyle. Top of the chat over on YouTube. It should be at the very top. You have to scroll up on Facebook, but you just hit the link, come on into the chat or the call-in room, and you could be on camera, off camera. We'd love to hear from you this evening, and we'll get into some things. We got some comments to address, and there's a big topic that someone brought up that we want to hit here in a second. But once again, let me remind you of our friends at barnersupply.com. Obviously, we've already told you how much we love them and what they stand for in terms of even things outside of barning hard. But barnersupply.com for the hats like this. They got that logo down there. Other gear that you can get, other apparel. and celebrate our barning heritage for the Auburn Tigers. Visit them at barnersupply.com. We appreciate them supporting Auburn Family Night this summer. Let's see here. What were you guys saying while we were talking? We've got that comment saved for Hunter in a second. We'll get to that. Let's see here. If you could pick any neutral site to play at, where would you? This is from Hunter. And everybody else can answer this as well. Any neutral site, if Legion Field was in better condition, I would say Legion Field in Birmingham, just because of the history there. I would love to do that. I never got to experience that. So for me, that would be probably the end all be all. It looks like you maybe, what opponent would you pick to be played? Mine's very simple and boring, Hunter. I would pick Legion Field. I would want to go to an Iron Bowl there and experience what my father experienced at that special location. I think it would be really cool. Sam says Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl would be a good one. You think about those things. We've done the Sugar Bowl. We haven't done the Orange Bowl in recent history. So that, and the Miami one at the whatever the field down there is called now. I feel like the Cotton Bowl would be fun. I've not been there recently. Oh, now listen, how about this? You want to talk about a neutral site? It would be neutral because neither team would be there. I'd love to see Auburn and Alabama play in the snow at Randall Campbell. Is that what it's called? Randall Campbell Stadium? Camp Randall, wherever it is in Wisconsin, just play there in the snow. That would be like the end all be all for me on that one. That's our good friend. What's going on, sir? What you been doing up to, Randy? He says, what's up, Kyle? Happy to catch the show. Just finished my live a few minutes ago. I'm glad to see you streaming. I've been streaming, still here. They haven't run me off yet, Randy. He's one of our good friends that covers the Georgia Bulldogs. So you can always visit him if you'd like to. Happy to see you on here. I think you sent me a message or tagged me in something. I've got to go look. It has been a heck of a time here recently, but happy to see you popping into the chat. I'm sure we'll see you a little bit more often once football officially gets rolling here. So there was your official confirmation. No Broom tonight, but we'll wait and see what happens when he goes out there tomorrow. Unbeaten Lake said, not going to lie, I would love to see Nike give us the 90s 3D numbers for just one game. Saw UCF got those today. I've had it told to me to not expect a lot of fireworks with July 1st. You can take that or leave it, and what that means. I do think there's a lot of people that are building up to July 1st, the day that Nike switches over, and I hope they're not going to be so disappointed. Do I think that Auburn social media will celebrate it, will point it out, will talk about it? Yes, of course. But I don't think it's going to be some like big extravaganza that people are building up in their head. So I hope that's not going to be too disappointing for some people. Who is my dream matchup to see Auburn play in football? I'm guessing, Corey, you're asking those that haven't happened yet. Notre Dame. And I don't even care if it's at their place and not at Jordan-Hare. I just want to play Notre Dame. That has been high on my list for a long, long time. Unbeaten Lake says we need to play at Lambeau Field during a blizzard. It's the same kind of concept of playing at Camp Randall with the Wisconsin field. I just have an affinity towards Wisconsin Badgers because I have a lot of family. Many have passed away now, but still connections up to that region. And I would love, love, love to experience a game in the snow up there. Wisconsin, Minnesota would be so much fun, but I'll never get to do it because it's on the same day as the Iron Bowl always. Yes, I do love the Pack, but I'm not that big of an NFL fan. Hunter says, I hope that in the near future that we as a fan base and school label Texas A&M as a rivalry game. That matchup has been electric year in and year out. It does seem to have been quite interesting. I will tell you that I think it's still going to be a while before anybody really considers that a rivalry game. But if it continues, here's where it could end up. Let me go with you a little bit on this, Hunter. Auburn and LSU, other than sharing tigers as their mascot, really didn't. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that's a lie. They have more connective tissue than you would be aware of, including Coach Mike Donahue, who went to LSU after Auburn. I would say could end up being something similar to that, where over time, because of the weird shenanigans in the competitive games they have, maybe that's the type of rivalry where it's a secondary one, obviously to Auburn, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, but maybe that's where you could end up at some point. Let's see here. Oh, they're still on the draft, Sam. Well, you led me to believe he wasn't getting drafted tonight. What's going on? You led me to believe he wasn't getting drafted tonight. You led me astray, sir. Okay. Let me do this. What's going on, Devin? You in the kitchen tonight? And if you're in the kitchen, what's being cooked? I had dinner already, but sometimes Devin tells us what she made in the kitchen, and it's really good. For those of you that are wondering, that's an inside joke. We're not being insulting towards Devin. Somebody was being insulting towards Devin one day, but we have fun with it here. All right, let's go back to this question. And let's do it together. Let's do a collective, spend a minute and talk about this from Hunter. Hunter asks, I'd like to see you build your best all-time running back only using the following physical traits from previous Auburn players: speed, size, strength, receiving ability, trucking, and swagger. That is a very thorough question. He is known for giving us very thorough questions on our TikTok streams, which it really isn't set up well for that because it's supposed to be quick. But tonight is one of those nights where maybe we can park it for just a few minutes and talk about this. I want some input from you guys, so don't be shy. Somebody has already given us a little bit of insight, Sam from TikTok as well. For running back build, Bo's strength, Brandon Jacobs' size, Ontario McCaleb's wheels, Cadillac swagger, and Carry-On's receiving. That may be hard to top, to be honest with you. So if you all have a input on that, please do drop it in to the chat and we can talk about it. But let me bring Hunter's back up. All right, so he wants to build the ultimate Auburn running back on these parameters. Size is going to be hard to top Brandon Jacobs, but I'm going to go, if all of these things are like the peak of what that person's skill and ability are, then we're making the ultimate one. I don't necessarily want him to be as tall as Brandon Jacobs was, although it didn't seem to impede him as much. I'm going to go Cameron Petway. What do y'all think about that? Cameron Petway for the size. For speed, I will probably go Corey Grant. Now, I'm just bringing names off the top of my list, and some of these you're going to be like, why are you picking these? But we're combining some of the best skill positions, skill assets of these running backs into the ultimate one. And I don't think it necessarily means that you have to pick the obvious choices. So I've got size, Cameron Petway. I've got speed, Corey Grant. Taillights was his name. Receiving ability, I really do like the Carry-On Johnson pick. And I may have to steal that one because I'm trying to think of somebody else. Mario Fannin wasn't too bad as a receiving back, but I will stick with Carry-On Johnson for that. So I'm going to steal that one from Sam, who mentioned that a little while ago. Did I do strength? I skipped over that one. I'm going to put Bo in that category. I think Bo's strength is more than just, it's more different than trucking. It's in the power in his legs. I mean, he literally had that injury because his legs were more powerful than anybody else's. That's why that injury happened. So I'm going to go Bo Jackson's strength. Trucking, Ronnie Brown, the Hummer. Literally, he has a photo of him trucking someone. That's what I'll go with for trucking. And swagger, swagger, I think Cadillac is a very good pick for that. I feel cheap if I steal that one too. So I am going to go. I'll go Jarquez Hunter. What do you think about that? Jarquez had a little swagger about him because he could do so many different things, and it wasn't a cocky swagger. But I think he was highly respected in all assets. So I'm just going to put Jarquez Hunter on the swagger part. And I'm disrespecting a lot of people like Joe Cribbs and Rudy Johnson. I didn't even mention Cadillac here. There's so many different ways that you could go with that question. It's really good here. All right, let's see what a few of you guys said about this particular topic because it's a good one right there. Bo is the answer. There is nothing else. That is fair. He is the ultimate athlete, the ultimate Auburn running back, the ultimate Auburn athlete. But we're going to play the game here. Probably Bo's trucking. That would not be a bad pick. Let's see what else we got going on here in the chat. I'm still really sad thinking about how much potential Michael Dyer had, so I don't know if that was for this, but there you go. Ronnie Brown has nothing on Bo Jackson. Once again, Neil, I think you missed the point. This wasn't about who is the best. This was taking the best of somebody, and I did take Bo for something, but I'm taking what I feel like would have been the best of that particular person in their perfect moments and go there. Jarquez, I think, should be a little bit included in those things, but there's a few things there too. Corey says, no trucking is Bo. Just ask Brian Bosworth. That's it. I hear you. I hear you. But we have to be a little bit creative than just saying Bo Jackson all the time. So I gave you a few answers there. So in summary, let me go back and answer these again. I said for size was the first question, Cameron Petway, because I didn't want someone that was a behemoth and tall. Speed, who did I say? Corey Grant. Strength, I said Bo Jackson. Receiving ability, Kerryon Johnson. Trucking, Ronnie Brown. And swagger, I said Jarquez Hunter. That is what I'm actually going to change that. I love you, Jarquez. Rudy Johnson. Sorry. It probably makes no sense to anybody else, but that's who I'm selecting right there. So there you go. We all created it together. The ultimate Auburn running back, whether you agree with it or not. We could probably have a lot of good choices in Auburn's running back stable across the years. And we didn't even get to some of the later years for that. But let us know what you think. Okay. A couple other people sharing opinions about that. I think I had a couple of other comments in here we may want to address. Devin is cooking up some sausage and peppers. That sounds very, very good, Devin. Making us jealous. This is from Unbeaten Lake. He says, I'm starting to think we are building a rivalry with Missouri because of 2013, 2022, and of course, we're their homecoming game. We were their homecoming game last year, and we were theirs in that 2022 year as well, or the opposite way. I'm sorry. I don't really see that much there, Unbeaten Lake. Have we had some frustrating and interesting games with them? Certainly so. I would agree that Texas A&M, in comparing the two, is farther along in that discussion of being a rival than they are. But it has certainly been interesting for that. Let's see here. Let me skip ahead a little bit and see what you guys are talking about. What do I think about Alvin Henderson? Tim, the TikTok folks are going to laugh when they say they know what I'm about to say here. What do you mean? What do I think about Alvin Henderson? Like, what do you want me to talk about on him? Give me a little bit more than what do you think? Because I think he's got a cool name, Alvin. I mean, I think I could go 1,000 different ways with that. So let me know what you're thinking about that. Trey for elusiveness. I don't really, would you consider Trey elusive or just flat out? I mean, maybe. Elusiveness is a good one. I'd probably give Ontario McCaleb elusiveness because he was so skinny he just slipped through people's fingers. Hunter says, I always get Kyle riled up on TikTok, but my Trey Mason is greater than Cadillac stance. Oh, man. Oh, he is so far from incorrect. So far from correct with this. It is. No. No. Absolutely not. This is not true whatsoever on here. Besides USC, when's the last time we put a beating on a team twice in a year? Oh, you're talking about the championship year. We had a shot against Georgia in 2017. To have it in the past, to have two shots at them, you'd have to play them in the SEC championship game. So we played Florida twice in 2000. We played Tennessee. Tennessee would probably be that, but those weren't thumpings. Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia had a shot at. So I guess that's your big ones right there. Felix, what's going on, sir? Good to see you. I feel like you got here in last time, so good to hear you. Good to see you, I guess I should say. Neil's like straight up offended about this tonight. I agree with you, Neil. Bo Jackson's the greatest athlete of all time. You're missing the point. The exercise was not about who is the ultimate Auburn running back. It was build the ultimate one. And sometimes you can build a better one from the sum of parts of the others. But if you're going to just take that one versus Bo, it'd probably be very interesting. So Tim, I think so. You still haven't answered what you'd like for me to talk about around him. About him, I think it's great that Alvin set a national high school record. I did remember seeing that. I guess I just don't put a lot of stock in what guys do in high school as pertaining to what I think about them after this point. It's great to, evaluate them to see if they're worth bringing in, but that doesn't really mean anything once they get here to me. And I'm not diminishing in any way what Alvin Henderson has done at this high school career. It's a great accomplishment. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people in the recruiting space, in my opinion, you don't have to agree with me, that hold that somehow because someone's tape looks so good or they hold this record or that somehow they're automatically going to work out. Got several examples of that we can go through that it just hasn't. But if there's something else that you'd like to talk about Alvin on, I'm excited to have him as part of the room, but I'm not sure which way you were wanting us to go with on that one. Tennessee, we beat Tennessee in 2004 pretty badly. USC in 2010. Let's go back and look Auburn's 2004 schedule. I want to see the scores because the first game I don't think you could say was a beating by us, but let's see. I could be wrong. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Looking at it right now. Auburn, number 8, Auburn. No. Yeah, number 8, Auburn at number 10, Tennessee. We did put the thumping on them. I was wrong, 34-10. I stand corrected. That would be a thumping. And then in the championship game, we won 38-28. But if I'm not mistaken, that 28 points came kind of late. If I'm not, I feel like that's the case. I feel like it was closer at halftime. We stretched out the lead, and then they kind of chipped away. So that's probably your closest bet to that one over time. We brought up Georgia, and suddenly someone appears in the chat. Let's take a break real quick, and let's talk to a good friend of mine. Talked about him a little bit earlier. He's here. It's good to see him outside of football season. Mr. Randy, what's going on, sir? We can't hear you. Or maybe that's me. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure that's not me. You give it a try and see if it's I think I'm working. Let's see. Here, I'm gonna pull my mic out and see if that. Oh, no. I got nothing. I love watching when people's mouths are moving. I can't see. These frustrations too, Randy, dealing in this space. Isn't it the worst? Like you can have everything set up and then all of a sudden it just craps out on you because one setting was off. Hey, I got something.
Yeah. Yep. I bet you got me now.
There it is. Good to hear from you.
Rookie mistake, man. When I jumped into the studio, I checked the video. I didn't check the audio. It was a dumb mistake. Just
listen, it happens. The amount of things that content creators have to triple check is just ridiculous sometimes. I don't say that to be like, woe is us. I mean, we get to do this as a privilege, but it's just you forget sometimes to run a show hopefully well, how many things that you got to make sure is lined up correctly, everything's plugged in properly. How many times I've started a show and just started talking and nobody can hear a dang thing. Hasn't happened recently, but it's happened. What's going on?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm staying busy, man. But it's not like Georgia was invoked, and then I just had to scurry over here and say a little something. But what? Here's for real what happened. I mentioned in the chat that I just jumped off my live, saw you. I was like, oh, cool, Kyle, and I was like going to jump over and just sort of have you in my ear because I was still working.
Yeah.
And I had to knock out a little, I just launched a private podcast, a plus version of my, what I do weekly.
Sure.
And so Georgia got a recruit today. So I jumped over there. I was going to knock out the little audio update for my subscribers over there. And then I had to switch everything back and forth, and then I was like, hey, wait a minute, Kyle's on here and I have a question. I'm going to just jump in and see if he'll let me say hello. So I appreciate you bringing me on, man. This is, this is unexpected. I'm kind of giddy, but seriously, I had like everything moving all over the place. So,
yeah. We're always happy to hear from you. And I hope we'll get to do this even more often as the season starts approaching. So every Wednesday night is open mic night. So even Georgia fans can come in here.
Well, I think I have a decent reputation, for wandering into other places because I don't get into the trash talk necessarily. A little ribbing every now and then is fine.
Nothing wrong with a little ribbing. Nothing wrong with that.
No, but I don't do trash talk, right? So I think if I can come and add value to what you're doing, then I've done a good job. And that's really because I respect what it is that we do.
Yep.
Like I'm not trying to come on here and mess your show up. You know what I'm saying? So
I got you.
But yeah, I did have a question though.
Let's hear it.
We are getting to, we've been in talking season, but like SEC Media Days are like 3 weeks away. And the thing that I hear, like when we're looking at schedules and all that sort of stuff, the thing that seems to be a pervasive note in the Georgia community is that some people are going so far as to say the SEC is out to get Georgia. I don't feel that way, but people seem to think that your Auburn Tigers are going to step up and bite my dogs this year at Auburn at night, late in the year, or, people seem to think that's the one. I just wondered how you feel about it.
I think if it's going to happen, it has to happen at Jordan-Hare Stadium, that's the case tonight. I will tell you on the Auburn side of that equation, there is a tremendous amount of hype around that because someone did the stat, I think maybe on this show last week, the last time Auburn and Georgia flat out played at night was the blackout game, the first blackout game.
No.
Was that
really?
Wrong? I think it's correct.
Wow.
I think that is correct. If that's true, then let's extrapolate that. When's the last time Auburn and Georgia played at night in Jordan-Hare? So much so, Randy, that season tickets always sell out at Auburn, but usually there's a small window where a couple go to the general public to buy and not through the Tigers Unlimited program to get the season tickets. Didn't happen this time. Here I am just twiddling my thumbs, waiting to get the season tickets, and they're all gone because I think there's so much hype around Auburn and Georgia playing at nighttime, prime time in Jordan-Hare Stadium. So maybe that's what's playing into this a little bit. I think people, finally appreciate outside of Auburn and Georgia, the dynamic that is there, the rivalry that is there. I call it connective tissue, and that's what makes it so special. So, and I think maybe it's also people want somebody to get Georgia these days. And it seems like, Auburn may be one of those teams that just finds a way to take down the Giants. I mean, because it's happened every once in a while. So maybe all those factors together are why you're hearing that. That would be my interpretation.
I'll tell you, I mean, I believe we talked right before the 23 game. And even if we didn't, I was on record that year as saying Georgia's if they get out of there, they're going to escape by the skin of their teeth. And sure enough, Georgia was beaten. It wasn't the way it was supposed to be. And then Brock put on his Superman cape and changed it. Yeah. So that's what happened, know, and it's one of those things where you just chalk it up and you're like, okay, awesome. And then last year, I know we spoke at least a little bit in the lead up to that game. And I was like, well, I think Georgia's going to handle them, but it could, it's not going to be like a blowout or anything like that. And I remember you do the how many touchdowns, how many field goals kind of stuff. And so I remember going through that, watching your show and stuff. And I'm like, so that game at the end, maybe it didn't look like it was that competitive, but I thought that was a competitive game. And there were plenty of Georgia fans who had a bee in their bonnet about how it went down. And I'm like, do y'all not just understand that you beat like Auburn? They're like, yeah, but Auburn's down. I'm like, I don't care. Like for me, it is very simple. And usually who your greatest rival is if you're a Georgia Bulldog fan depends on how old you are, right? So I am firmly Gen X. So for me, it is the Florida Gators, hate them. And then it is the Auburn Tigers, and then it is Georgia Tech. Now, you can shuffle those based on how old you are. Right. Generally, the older folks are like Georgia Tech first and always. Trust me, I don't want to lose Georgia Tech, right? But I'm just saying, if we're splitting hairs, that's my order. So I fully respect Auburn all the time. And if you beat a team like that, and I forget the final score last year.
I think it was like 31, maybe 14 or 17, something like that. I think we got 2 touchdowns on you, but that's about it.
So 2 scores. So the Dogs won by 2 scores. And that's what I remember saying was you just beat Auburn, like the Deep South's oldest rivalry that is always has the potential to go sideways. You just beat them by 2 scores. So y'all need to calm down a little bit. I mean, and so that's on the Georgia side. That's what it sounded like. But to this season and the hype for this game, I know that Auburn has questions, right? And that there's a lot of hope about what could happen this year. And I'm sure you're aware, I just talked about it for an hour and a half, including my aftertime. Georgia has plenty of questions, right, heading into 2025.
Right.
So they are still considered a consensus top 5 pick, a betting favorite to win it all, which is crazy. And it's hard to hold those 2 thoughts in your head at the same time, knowing how many questions they have and also understanding that nationally the perception is they're still going to be pretty good. So you factor all that into night game, which I did not know that about the blackout game in 2007. If it's been that long, that's nutso, because the game seems to always sort of end at dusk, so it blurs my memory of what's a night game and what's not. I could not believe that you said 2007. But if that's the case, then there just aren't many places better than Auburn if Auburn is right. And when I say Auburn's right, I don't mean you have to be 10-0. I just mean you have to have a competitive team and the fans have to be in it. If your fans are believing in it, think you got a shot, that's a crazy place to play, especially when you put a top team in there and you get the prime time and the game day and all that stuff that probably is going to make its way there. I mean, that's just the kind of game that has to be amped up. And I'm always going to tell you that Georgia, if they win at Auburn, that's like a 1.5 extra for me. I just think that place is different. It's tough. And there's an outside shot that I might actually get to make my first trip to Auburn this year.
You have never been to Auburn?
I've never been. I didn't get to make it as a student. And then since I became a professional, then I'm working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I'm covering the game. So I can't but I've never been on the Georgia beat. I've done it from a national level. Right. So it's one of those situations where I just can't be free to go. Or if I did get off, there was something else that got in the way. Right. So I'm excited because this year it looks like I might, and not only get to go, but I might have a bit of an in, maybe. We might have a media hookup or something because my brother is the one who's trying to coordinate it all. Yeah. So if it comes through, I'm going to be tickled pink to get to be over there for what I know will be an electric sort of atmosphere. And I hope that if that's the case, I get to see Jordan-Hare in its like full floral coloring, like the full throat. Because I know that even if and I don't know what Georgia's going to be right there. I mean, I can make my picks or whatever, but like I said, there's a lot of questions, but let's just assume Georgia's pretty good. They might have a loss or somewhere along the way, or maybe even 2. And let's hope that Auburn is doing good. I'm not educated enough right now to say where you are, but let's say that you guys are, doing pretty good, and, a couple losses, maybe that's fine. And then they square up in that matchup. Man, that's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopeful that's how it goes.
I think you can look at it a couple ways. Auburn's going to be coming off a tough 2-game stretch out to Oklahoma and Texas A&M, and then have a bye week. So they're either going to be licking their wounds and wanting to do some damage to regain ground, or what if they come in undefeated and that matchup happens at that game time? Think about a bye week, no football for Auburn. Everybody's chomping at the bit. And then this is the greatest part. Nobody probably gets excited about this the way I do. When that first whiff of just cool fall air blows through the plains and it's an all day thing on a Saturday. Like I have this vision that we're going to wake up, whatever, it's October 8th, 15th, something like that. I don't remember what it is. We're just going to wake up that morning and it's going to be a crisp 55 degrees and it's not going to get above 75. And by the time kickoff, it's back in the 60s, maybe even starting to dip back down.
It's got to be dry.
It's got to be dry. On me. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Dry, cool, perfect weather, all day tailgating. First time Auburn and Georgia have played at night in so long. That just does the college football fan good.
So yes, it does.
I'm excited for it, my friend. We'll have to talk again soon so that when it gets closer to time, let's certainly do that and see where both teams are at.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm down. I should be a lot freer this year because I'm doing more freelancing this year. So I've got, schedules moving all over the place. Yep. But it's one of those things. So I should have more of an availability and I'm always down to come on. In fact, I think you mentioned I sent you a message. I did. And it was about that. I have a goal of just trying to reach out around the conference and talk with as many different people as I can. So I just reached out and was like, hey, I'd love to come see you. Let's make it happen. So
yeah, definitely.
So that's
always happy to have you here. So please, we love you're the Georgia flair we can stand. So
hey, I dig it. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you stopping by, my friend.
It goes the same way. I don't currently have another Auburn connection that I enjoy reaching out to. So,
I appreciate it.
So there you go.
I'm glad we can meet that need for you for now until I rub you the wrong way. But I hope I never do that for you.
Nah, I think we're going to be fine.
All right, Randy. Well, good to hear from you, my friend. As always, say Wednesday nights are always open, so you're always welcome to come by. But let's get together as the season approaches.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, Randy. Thanks for stopping by. Bye. All right, that was our good friend Randy. Thanks for him for calling in. We've already got another caller lined up. We'll get to you in just a second, so just stand by for that. We appreciate you guys being patient for that. Good calls tonight so far. Let me check in with some of the comments. Some of you were talking. I didn't know if this was embarrass him or not, but a lot of you were talking about Randy's soothing voice, and it is he definitely has a voice for radio. So we all are jealous of that. So I'm sure he saw some of those comments and appreciates them, but that was kind of funny. It made me laugh a little bit. Had to keep a straight face. Quick reminders, barnersupply.com. Again, we're very grateful for what they do in supporting Auburn Family Nights this summer. And we are so looking forward to continuing to, support them in whatever ways we can in the future, but we hope that you'll continue to shop with them, barnersupply.com. Get this hat, that logo down there, any of the things that you can. Support Auburn people, and we'll continue to have some great Auburn products and options out there for us. Let's see what we got in the chat before we talk to our next caller, and then we'll roll from there. This is from Hunter. Even with the small amount of wins JHS was insane when Caddy took over as head coach against A&M. Not many teams can create a comparable atmosphere during a losing season. I think that's a good thing, and I probably think that Randy agrees with you there too, that when there is belief, as he was saying, in the Auburn fan base, that's a very palpable, tangible thing that can be felt, not just amongst the Auburn folks, but those that are visiting too. And that is probably your best example of that. I mean, sure, that team had a shot to make it back to bowl eligibility after they fired Brian Harsin and finished out the season. But not many people want to remember that game, that moment. But to me, that is one of the more special times of being an Auburn fan, is watching one of our own that we celebrated as a player take over the program and bring out the energy and the fire, electricity in the air. It was so good to see that. Okay, I think that we got a little bit in there. Thomas, by the way, I didn't get to say thank you for the super chat, sir, just because. Very kind, sir. You're always too generous to us, so we appreciate that very much. Our team walkout literally made me cry happy tears. It might have been a little misty for me too, might have been, but we won't get into that too much. My greatest wish for the season is for Auburn to have a winning record. I think that's about everybody's focus right now. All right, let's talk to our next caller. He's been very patient and waiting. Mr. Brian, what's going on from the Great White North?
Hey, man, War Eagle, how are you?
Good to hear from you. I'm doing well. I hope the temperature and the weather is treating you nicely up there in Minnesota.
Minnesota's been weird, man. It was 105 heat index on Friday.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Like,
Y'all
if you're
have
gonna
a
live,
heat wave?
yeah, which is not uncommon. Like, if you're gonna live here,
Okay.
you're gonna get a week of 100 degrees with 105 heat index, and you're gonna get a week at 20 below. So your closet's got to have 120 degrees of temperature change in it. That's just part of living here. But well, we're just tougher than most. You know,
I would.
in
Yeah,
in
I
the
agree with
SEC
that.
it matters more than most, but here you just got to be a little tougher than most. But that's okay.
Y'all do tend up that way to grow people very, very stouter, or a lot more stout and a little,
Yeah,
I always talk about offensive linemen in the Big
yeah,
Ten.
little farm
Even though,
country. Yeah,
yeah, just feeding the corn. That's what happens.
but I mean, you got to do it. It's crazy.
That's right. That's right.
I only caught half of Randy's conversation. I don't think he barked at you, so that's progress from a Georgia fan.
No, Randy. Randy may have barked in his old days, but I don't think his at least his public persona has been one of barking nature. But listen,
that's good.
We all have our moments where our fandom comes out in weird ways. Barking is very odd, but he's always been a good guy.
No, like people like I own that I like Bama fans more than Georgia fans. People ask me why. I'm like, because Georgia fans are full grown adults that'll bark at you, and I think that's really weird. But that's just me.
It's a little weird.
It's a lot weird.
Yes, it is.
That Texas A&M game when Caddy was interim, I still will never forget my 7-year-old sitting in a Buffalo Wild Wings with me every good play we made saying, "Go crazy, Caddy, go crazy." Like, that was a moment I felt like I was a good dad. I'm like, okay, doing this right.
Yeah.
That was a good moment.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Where is Caddy right now?
Well, that's some people are talking about in the chat, and I believe he is still with the Raiders. I'll do a quick search real quick
Is he?
while
Okay.
we're talking about it.
All right.
While we're talking about it,
Yeah.
But I think that's where he went when he left Auburn.
Yeah, some stuff happened. I know.
Of course, yes. We won't get into that, but
nope.
I still
love the man. I've needed second and third and fourth chances in my life, and always happy to give them to good people. So,
according to Wikipedia, if you trust it, which
I
sometimes
do.
Las Vegas Raiders running backs coach Carnell Williams is where he is at right now.
All right, good.
My little Cadillac loving heart, I'm hoping one day after some time has passed that we get a circle back to that. That would be fun again.
I don't believe he's had his last job as a member of the coaching staff at Auburn. I don't. I believe he'll be there.
Yes.
And I look forward to that.
How about this? If heaven forbid, we need an interim again, I say we go find him and just say, whatever you did for 4 games to make the magic happen, just do that again, just to get us through the season.
Heaven forbid we need a permanent again. Let's go there. Anyway, that's a different story. That Georgia game is going to be phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it is.
I've already added it. So my fall's this is just me personally. I have a 22-year-old daughter who knows more about football than any human being I've ever met in my life.
Uh-huh.
And I owe her when her older sister graduated from high school, we went to Rome.
Yeah. And
then when she graduated from high school, COVID screwed up a trip. So we are going September 28th to watch she's a huge Vikings fan, to watch the Vikings play the Steelers in Dublin. Uh-huh. The next Sunday, we're going to watch the Vikings play the Browns in London. And then that Saturday, we're going to watch Auburn play Georgia at Jordan-Hare. Like, that's 3 great football games in a row, isn't it?
That sounds really fun.
And I agree with you. That Saturday should just be everything that college football is all about. I mean, it should be cool, like the first whiff of cool air. Mm-hmm. And then just, Auburn, Georgia on a Saturday night at Jordan-Hare.
Yep.
That's made for something weird to happen, isn't it?
It feels like it could have that Auburn and LSU type of weird flair where it's a great game, but something just odd is going to happen in the game. Yeah. You mean like Brock Bowers going Heisman? I hope that's not what we're talking about.
Or
or
Ricardo Lewis. I mean,
or Ricardo Lewis, yeah.
yeah.
Or the dog biting the
Biting,
guy
yeah.
by the hands, or us on
Or,
4th and 10 going almost 80 yards to win the game, and the ball is like punched out in the end zone but picked up by Auburn still to win. I mean, we could, it's funny.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels like some of that JHS magic could happen that night.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it would.
I know it's June, but it just has that feel about it. So, uh,
I'm convinced that the season tickets are sold out so quickly simply because of that matchup and that time being announced. You can't
I
convince
agree.
me that it's not. I know
Yeah,
the Iron Bowl is there this year too, and traditionally when you have both of those rivalry games at
but,
home, that's going to
but
be a higher thing. But that is
it
what
is.
did it.
But that's a perfect place on the schedule. It's a perfect night. It's just, yeah. I mean, it sets up for all kinds of fun. I can't wait to be there.
Absolutely, it
We
does.
will. I will see you that day at Tiger Walk. It'll be a good day.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And if Devin's in the chat, I saw in the Discord she talked about buying Iron Bowl tickets. My advice is wait.
Yeah.
Just wait till October, early November, and see what's happening.
Yeah, that could be advantageous if heaven forbid, things aren't going your way. You might be able to pay much less for them.
Yeah.
But even still, there's going to be the initial hype. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's even the title of the show tonight. The Auburn tickets are going fast. They go on sale tomorrow morning, I think at 10 Eastern time, 9 Central.
Yeah.
What's left? I've said this, and I've been very open about this. I don't get media credentials to games, so I have to cover my own way there. And I've usually bought season tickets. This year, I don't have access to them. So tomorrow morning, Kyle will have 2 computers up, and we'll be trying to refresh, and get as many tickets as I can. But I will always be on campus unless I have a schedule conflict. So I can cover Tiger Walk, cover the tailgating and stuff like that, and we can do post-game shows.
I've been fortunate that I have a couple friends that have pretty decent seats. I've had my own season tickets, but there's no section I would be afraid to buy a ticket in, even if it's a visitor section. Just own them, have fun that night. I mean, it's good.
Yep.
So
I'll have to be looking for one too.
Black's cool.
Oh, Brian, I think we lost you there for a second.
Last question, and I haven't seen anything lately for the last. I'm here. You got me?
Yeah. It cut off for a little bit, but
it
kind of had to catch back up. We're back now, so you can continue.
All right. How's that? So, yeah, sorry, I'm in my car. I lost you for 10 seconds. But does Janai Broom get drafted tonight or tomorrow?
I think most people who are
does Janai get drafted tonight or tomorrow?
I think it's probably going to be tomorrow.
Yep.
I think so.
Tomorrow?
I think it's going to be tomorrow. Yeah. I would love for it to happen tonight.
That's weird to me.
I don't see it happening.
It's weird to me, though. Isn't it weird to you a little bit? I mean, he was the best or second best player in the country all year long.
I think maybe his racked up injuries play into that a little bit. I wonder. To me, it's always hard to predict a draft situation because you don't know what a team's needs truly are. I mean, we all think we do, but if there's not as much of a need for big men and there's people ahead of him, then maybe there's less of a shot. To me, I got to think part of it is he has compiled a plethora of injuries, and that can be a worry for investing that highly in Janai Broom. But here's what I do know: if you invest in Janai Broom, he's a workhorse. He's going to go out and show out for people.
Oh, I selfishly, I'd love him to end up in a Minnesota Timberwolves jersey. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'd love it. But I don't see it happening.
Yep.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? So, all right, man, War Eagle, and thanks as always for everything you do, and thanks for keeping us up to date and engaged in all things Auburn, even this time of year. So, appreciate you, man.
All right, thank you, Brian. Appreciate your call.
War Eagle. War Eagle.
All right, that was Brian. We've had some great calls this evening. We are already past our time we normally go. So I'll stay on for just a little bit longer, and I can take one more call. And let's see. Oh, that was Randy earlier. Randy. If you're still there, I missed your private message there, but no, you're good. You're always welcome, as I said, to be on here. So anyway, let me take a few more comments and questions from the chat. You guys go ahead and post those in. But if you want to take advantage of the call-in link, it'll be available for just a few more minutes. So you need to get in line now to go ahead and do that if you're wanting to access that. Reminders for you. We do this on most Wednesday nights. So join us whenever you can. Invite a friend. We'd love for you to call in too if you ever want to take advantage of that. Tonight's a good night to give it a try real quick at the end of the night. Our next scheduled live stream is going to be Sunday night, which is Auburn Family Night. You all know that, with Austin. We're going to talk about episode 131. Plenty to talk about. I think right now on the schedule for our main topics for that one is going to be talking about where Janai goes and maybe a little bit of an update of Auburn in the NBA, where you should be paying attention. Right now, not sure what that second topic major may be. Maybe we might get a little bit of a Mount Rushmore situation going there if nothing else pops up. But there are plenty of things to discuss this week on the Auburn Experience. So join us Sunday night for that if you're not. We're live on TikTok basically every day too. So join us for that if you can. And we've got podcasts galore, the main podcast, but also Ever to Podcast, which is our somewhat daily show in the audio format if you want to consume that and check that out. Yeah, so that's all the stuff for you. We appreciate you guys being here. And as a final reminder, barnersupply.com. Check them out. Don't you love this hat? Don't you love that logo down there? You can get that on a hat, a shirt, a koozie, plenty of other things. I've got a reel I was going to put out showing you the wonderful box they put together for me when we started this partnership, and we've been so glad to do that. So I do mean this wholeheartedly. We should also support Auburn businesses, and this is one of those Auburn small businesses that I really love the people behind it, not just the business. So barnersupply.com, please go check them out. Links are in our profile. And in some of those hats, I think this one and that logo down there, if you use the code E2C, I think it's still active, you might get a little something off of that. I'm not sure if that's still active, but I think it is. Anyway, all that to be said, let's wrap up the show here with some last minute questions. We'll go ahead and close the phone lines, but if someone is calling in, we'll give them that. Let's see. I didn't see those comments until after I hopped off, but thanks to everyone regarding the sound. I really appreciate it. That's how you know someone who's been doing this for a while knows how to work the mics very well, but he does have a good radio voice too. So you got some love tonight, Randy, even as a Georgia fan. Always good to hear from you. Let's see. Five Guys, Sam. Sam has been one of the biggest just advocates for what is going to go in the Five Guys location in downtown Auburn. He still wants to know what that's going to be. Why is Devin pulling out the wooden spoon? My goodness, what's happening? WT, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for popping in here. Trying to keep up with some of these comments in here that we missed. See what's going on in the chat just a little bit here. Anything else tonight that we need to talk about that we haven't discussed? We talked about the tickets going on sale tomorrow. We talked a little bit about just general football outlook type of stuff, a little bit of recruiting. We talked about Janai, the NBA draft some tonight. I feel like there's some things that we haven't hit that we should hit this evening, and I cannot put my finger. I know a lot of you don't love to talk about Auburn soccer, but they have been releasing their schedule in piecemeal this week. They did the non-conference first today. They did the SEC schedule, so you technically know the whole schedule, but tomorrow they'll give you the promotions for each home game. And let me just continue to stress this. Some of these weekends match up very nicely with football home games. So if you can stay the weekend, usually played on Sunday, you're going to be treated to some nice SEC soccer, which is always entertaining and fun, and it makes for a complete and ever a great Auburn weekend. Have I ever been to a soccer game? What's the atmosphere like? I'm gonna do my clout here. Oh, I can't. It's in the Josh Donaldson bobblehead. Sorry, I got to pull him down too. You tell me. You tell me. Yes, that was our very first official credential I ever got. We covered the NCAA tournament game they hosted last season, but I've been there quite often. In fact, we used to have an additional podcast that was called Stoppage Time with Peter Green, Drew Hooper. They've been gone for a long time, but they did a great job on the Stoppage Time podcast. And we got to interview Coach Hoppe a few times. So yes, the atmosphere is a great time. It's fun. Certainly, I would recommend that if you're going into earlier games and you're going into daytime, wear your sunscreen. But if you can get a night soccer game for SEC matchup, it is a lot of fun. You're a student, so you need to be making sure you get all these things in and get all the experiences in before you go, because you'll regret it one day if you don't go take full advantage of it and enjoy it to its fullest extent. Is that what's happening? Has my chat been hijacked for NFL talk? Is that what's happening here? Some of y'all. Listen, I do love talking about the NFL when I can, when it's related to Auburn, but I just don't spend a lot of time these days worrying about anything outside. Look, when Devin's threatening to get the spoon out on all of y'all, that's when I knew things were getting serious. So you know what? I'm just going to let Devin be the moderator of when the spoon needs to come out and handle business with y'all in the chat. That's what I'm saying. All right. Last call for any topics, questions, comments before you get out of here. Any predictions? Let's end with a prediction. Everybody right now in the chat, even if you don't really know the NBA all that well, I want your prediction for who picks up Johni Broome in the NBA draft. Let's all do that collectively in the chat right now. I will even enter it. And I think I'm probably going to do some wishful thinking, because if there is a team that I want him to go to, I used to like these ones very much, the Grizzlies. So I just put it in as E2C, my submission, the Memphis Grizzlies. Who do you think, or who do you want Johni Broome should go to? We had a prediction from Kevin tonight for the Chicago Bulls, which I have heard a few people talk about. We've got Atlanta, we've got the Spurs, we've got the Raptors, Chicago, Lakers. Also trade for Kessler. Wow, could you imagine that? That would be awesome. That would be pretty awesome. The Clippers, maybe the Phoenix Suns. There's a lot of people y'all were lurking in the background like there, but good. Thank y'all for participating in that. It's good to see. So we had a nice smattering of everything out there. I'm going to say the Grizzlies, because when I was trying to get into the NBA, that was the team that somehow I attached myself to. I liked Paul Gasol a lot. But there's some Auburn connections in there. Phoenix Sun, Charles Barkley, obviously. That would be a cool one. I believe Marquise Daniels was with the Suns as well for a little bit. He was with the Mavericks, I know that, but I think he went around to a few teams. So there's a couple things that you could talk about there. He'll end up with the sorriest team out there. Well, let's hope not. All right, guys, we had a long show tonight, but it was a good one. Thank you so much for participating this evening, especially during these slow summer months where I know there's not a ton of stuff that y'all get super excited about, but it's always great to hear from you guys and get to hang out with you in more low-key settings too. So next week, come back. We'll be here again. Bring a friend. Keep spreading the word of the best little family within the Auburn family. We love hanging out with you guys each and every Wednesday night. Until we get to talk to you again, thank you for participating, and War Eagle.